So today I want to talk about and take a look at the state of Marvel's Avengers and see what the game needs to do to continue on before it just kind of clonks out and dies entirely. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. Now, Marvel's Avengers has had many controversies in the past. When the game first dropped, the game was extremely buggy to where some people couldn't even complete the main story properly. Like, it would soft lock on them and they literally could not continue through a certain point of the game. Now this, coupled with the initial bad reception before the game even dropped due to things like people complaining about the character design and art and story direction, the game wasn't very well received when it dropped initially in September of 2020. Now, credit to the devs, they have been working hard to get the game in a much better state that it's in today. However, because of the state that the game released in, I think the amount of interest from players never 100% bounced back. Now, the game has been getting consistent bad reception ever since, too. Like, some of it has been justified, but not all of it, right? Like, I think some of the initial bad reception, like when it comes to character designs and stuff like that, some people just flat out didn't like the character designs, which if you didn't, that's your opinion, but some people were not liking the character designs just because they didn't look like their MCU counterparts. Now, this I entirely disagree with because there has to be a separation of some kind. Obviously, we all love the MCU, but there has to be a separation between movies, games, comics. There has to be differences. Not everything has to be the same. Otherwise, what's the point of enjoying it in multiple forms of media? It just wouldn't make sense. So, but once Kate Bishop was released for the game on December 8th, 2020, the game especially felt dead for even longer because there was no big content improvements besides bug fixes, which, bug fixes were fine, but there were no big actual content drops from December until the end of this patch, March of 2021, when they released Hawkeye. However, from April to August, they made, I would say, great decisions in their content improvement. They did a great job, so they were very open and honest about things they were planning to add to the game via their roadmap that was released either at the same time as Hawkeye or right after Hawkeye, but they had it all the way up monthly up until the release of War for Wakanda in August. However, now the game feels like it's in a decline again, unfortunately, and a lot of it is due to the player base feeling betrayed. Now, recently the game made experience boosters available for purchase using real money in the marketplace, which made a lot of people think it is a kind of pay-to-win tactic and like it's a grimy business decision or a money-grabbing maneuver. I personally don't see it as pay-to-win, quote-unquote, because Avengers is a co-op game. It's not a PvP game. So when a game is co-op, what is there to win? At the end of the day, we are working together to achieve a goal in whatever it is we're doing in the game. I would completely understand and agree if the game had a heavy PvP aspect, because then someone who has money can buy the experience booster to give themselves an edge over people who don't have money. In that case, I would agree. But because, again, this is a co-op game, I don't see it as a pay-to-win aspect. Now, that's just me personally. I just don't see it as pay-to-win, right? But I will say other people felt betrayed because the devs had previously said that they would not sell experience boosters in the marketplace, and they would only sell things like cosmetic items such as skins, emotes, takedowns, and stuff like that. Well, because of these, there has been a very strong fan backlash and people leaving the game altogether due to feeling abandoned by the developers, especially so since after this criticism, all of the game's social media channels have remained silent on the issue and has left the experience boosters on sale for another week. So we're now in our second week for the experience boosters being on sale in the marketplace with no type of line of communication. So here's what they need to do to get better. So if they want to continue, a couple of things need to happen. First of all, the game devs need to be more open to communication to situations that are bad, not just the good ones, right? So if a large majority of fans are criticizing a business decision and they want answers, it is up to the people behind the game to give them those answers. Otherwise, people will never come back to a game where they feel the creators don't care about their player base. Communication here is the best thing that they could do immediately. They could just start a better line of communication right now, and the state of the game would be much better than what it is. And they have had good communication in the past, but they've only had good communication in regards to good news, like content that they're releasing, bugs that they're fixing. But they also need good communication when criticism is brought about the game. So the second thing is they need to be more open to things that they are thinking about adding to the game. So with the last roadmap that they released, very little content was revealed to be coming before the end of 2021. The only things that, in my opinion, are actual content that they had talked about was the Claw Raid and Spider-Man. And obviously with the Claw Raid comes the power level increase. But I'm impartial to not even say Spider-Man is content, not because he isn't, but he is, but because that only encapsulates PlayStation players. It does not encapsulate PC or Xbox players, so they are not going to have that piece of content to play for the rest of the year. So if they want people to remain interested, they have to give players more information about things that they have to come. It just can't be small teases that people might not know what they're trying to say. They need to, I feel like for this last roadmap that they released at the beginning of September through the end of 2021, the roadmap should have either gone further or they should have had at least like a general idea of more heroes that are to come, whatever, after the new year. Finally, alongside with this, there needs to be more things to come, period. So meaning the things that are going to be added have to be added in the form of content. People feel like the game is currently lacking in a plethora of ways to play, so they need to keep updating it with new areas to explore, new enemies to fight, new heroes to play, and so on. I would say bare minimum, they need to add some type of content monthly, and it needs to come in the form of a piece of new tangible content. When I say tangible content, I mean things like the Monica villain sector that was added in June. It was an entirely new stage, an entirely new boss fight, and it was fun because it was different compared to the other boss fights that we had experienced in the game so far. I think that the game has been lacking on actual new content to drop because, like, for Kate Bishop, for example, right? Kate Bishop came out and she came with the story and stuff, and it was cool. She came with the Super Adaptoid boss fight. That's also cool. It was a new boss fight. But as far as, like, the actual areas that you explored with Kate Bishop, it didn't feel new. It was just, you know, the snowy area, a couple of AIM lab areas. Like, there was nothing new about the areas and missions that you could do as Kate Bishop. They changed that, obviously, with Hawkeye. They added the Future Wasteland. But again, even the Future Wasteland, they added, like, maybe one or two variations of that area. Like, it was basically just the Wasteland. That's all it is the Wasteland. There's no variety to anything else that they added. Obviously, they added the Maestro boss fight. Again, that's a plus. But I feel like the game would not feel like it doesn't have content if the content that they had felt more diverse than it currently does. Obviously, I think the best example for this is War for Wakanda, right? So they added Wakanda as an outpost. They added 2 new boss fights. Obviously, War for Wakanda is also a lot bigger of an expansion than Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, right? No doubt there. But I think one of the biggest takeaways for Wakanda as well is Wakanda did not feel like the Wasteland, because the Wasteland was only 1 or 2 stages. Wakanda had like 3, 4, maybe 5 different variations, and everything in Wakanda felt new. Like, I could keep on playing stages in Wakanda right now, and it would still feel new. That is what's so great about what they added to the game. So they need to add more diverse areas in that respect for people to feel like things in the game just keep on feeling new and rejuvenated. If they do this, then they shouldn't have a problem with returning players at that point. That's the main issue I feel that's plaguing this game since release, because, you know, people left the game at release due to bugs. Then there was a lot of empty periods of time where no content dropped, so people weren't actively playing it. You know, they have people come back when things happen, like, you know, when Kate Bishop drops, when Hawkeye drops, when Black Panther drops, people come back, but the issue is that they need to get people to stay. And they need to get people to stay by adding things that can always make the game feel new. But if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe and comment on what you would like to see from Marvel's Avengers in the future. Thanks for watching.